are officially on the road to WrestleMania. What a huge Elimination Chamber. We are just minutes removed from a massive WWE title change. What's up, everybody? I'm Kev Kelm. That is John Clark in Central Pennsylvania. You are wherever you are, and we want to know where it is, and let's get your comments on screen. If you're with us in the podcast years, thank you so much. Give us a 5-star review. If you're watching this, hit that like button. We can see every single one of you. If you're with us for the first time, this is your first post-show. Welcome to the virtual couch. Some people already angry about it. I can see some very angry people here. Some very, very upset people. We are just minutes removed from the end of WWE Elimination Chamber. We have a new WWE Champion. The Miz cashing in after a brutal Elimination Chamber match. A lot of frenetic action at the end. Drew McIntyre coming in number 3 in the match of 6 people. A lot of different people getting involved, almost getting ejected from ringside. I thought it was a really, really strong, great match. I thought both the Elimination Chambers were great tonight. Sound off if you guys are with us for the first time live. Other people with different opinions. We'll want your 1 to 10 rating on the pay-per-view, by the way. Don't just rate it on your immediate emotion. Think of the whole show here. But let's get into it. John Clark, your immediate thoughts. The Miz cashing in on a worn-out Drew McIntyre with the help of Bobby Lashley, who apparently was paid some money from the Money in the Bank briefcase to go out there and soften him up, as if Drew McIntyre wasn't softened up enough as it is. Miz comes out and picks up the scraps. We thought we were going to have maybe 2 of these guys coming out of this pay-per-view, and maybe Miz would cash in and some shenanigans would happen. But there were shenanigans, and there was a swerve. And The Miz, whether you think it is awesome or not, is the new WWE Champion on Monday Night Raw.
Everybody that watched is either very happy or very unhappy with what happened. There is absolutely no in between from what I've seen right now. And I got to tell you, my immediate thoughts of this pay-per-view, I loved the ending. Oh, man. You guys have known for the past couple months, I have been saying we need to get Drew. We need to get the title off of this guy. I'm tired of this. It finally happened. The Miz is the champion. I'm not convinced that Drew doesn't win this back at like Fastlane or something yet, but or even he gets his WrestleMania moment and wins it back at WrestleMania, like you might be implying there. But I got to tell you, I'm happy with the direction they're going. I'm happy that it was cashed in, and I'm very intrigued as to how Lashley will fit into this storyline moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Ton of people with us here for the first time. If you guys are with us, go ahead and get your comments on screen. Love hearing from all of you. Braden Ward texting and saying The Miz is one of the best in the business right now and deserves the title so much more than others. Michael Kirschenbaum saying it wasn't even close with AJ at the end. He wouldn't even hit his move if it connected. He got brutalized. He took a lot of mean bumps in this match too. People, Holly saying not a fan of Lashley. She did not like that. She was not a fan of it. People asking, so what's the plan now?
We don't know. It's going to be interesting.
And Bob Skeleton, his internet got cut off near the end of the show. Quite a show where you get the internet cut off at the end. If you like maybe skipped ahead a little bit, or you were peeking at Twitter, you have that thing where you're watching on the network and it's like an hour ahead on the live feed or something like that. I saw a couple of people, especially when there's a cash in, people want to see that instantaneous. Oh, even though they know it's coming, or they think it could happen, there is that sense of you want to see it. Rick Meyer saying he loved the ending. He's with you as well. Someone saying that was awful. Here's the thing. I think if you're responding to this and you're saying this is the worst and Miz doesn't deserve it, you're marking out. Isn't that the idea? I'm not saying this is the best pay-per-view ever, but this is definitely like an Empire Strikes Back thing. The villains have won in a major, major way tonight. Roman Reigns was victorious earlier on in the night. We'll talk about all that, but I want to continue to get people's takes here on screen, especially people that are new to our show. Robert Perez saying, amazing show. If you guys are with us for the first time ever, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you like us on Facebook, you also have to follow and set those reminders. So we'll be live tomorrow night after Monday Night Raw, after AEW, NXT. We'll be live after WrestleMania as well. And we'll have all this different stuff. Oh, I can't watch the whole show. Don't worry. You can download it and get the podcast as well. Also, I know it's plug time. If you share tonight's show, if you share it on Twitter, you want to tag us and share the link. Okay. If you share it on Facebook, you want to let us know as well. We have to be able to see it publicly, by the way. because one random person who shares tonight's show on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, make sure you tag WrestleZone on whatever that social media app is. You can win this really cool Road to WrestleMania trivia and activity book. Pretty cool stuff. So you could win that tonight. So just definitely make sure you do that before the end of the show tonight. About Miz cashing in. This is about time Miz cash in. Gee whiz for the Miz. Let's talk about this. This is Miz's second WWE Championship. He's held now almost every major title in the company. I don't think he's held the Universal title.
Correct.
This is 10 years after he held the title, when people thought he was really coming into his own in 2010, and he headlined a WrestleMania main event that people were too sour on. Mind you, he did get hurt in that match, I believe. He did get hurt in that match. Let's talk about other matches on the card here. The Elimination Chamber itself to set up that ending. What did you think of it? Because I thought they told quite a story in it, and I know that's the ride to get to this big twist ending. I still don't think this devalues those. I think it makes them even more consequential because look what all these guys went through, and look how this no good, dirty heel took advantage of it, almost in two different ways, because they did this as well with Roman.
Yeah, so you're talking about the main event chamber match, right? Just to be clear. Yeah. Okay, so things definitely got interesting at a few points during the night. So before the match even started, we got that little backstage segment with the Miz and MVP, which instantly, clicked in your head that something was going to happen. Also, got to give a shout out to WrestleVotes. They tweeted out earlier tonight that something was going to happen, and something ended up happening. So credit to them for that. But as far as the match itself. Look, I was a little surprised by how early Orton was eliminated and that it was by Kofi on a roll-up. That was a little surprising for me there. No Fiend shenanigans.
No Bray Wyatt tonight.
No Fiend shenanigans there, or even Bliss for that matter. So that was interesting. Maybe they were going somewhere with that. I was really impressed with the outing that Jeff Hardy had in this match. I was really happy with that. He was about to eliminate AJ Styles before he got kicked by Sheamus. I'm really happy with the story they're telling between Sheamus and Drew here. I'm not sure, like I said, though, with this ending, where's that going to go now? We originally thought maybe Fastlane, but look, I don't think Sheamus is going to be involved at Fastlane. I know it's a little early to talk about this, but I straight up think we're going to get probably like Drew versus The Miz or something like that. But regardless... No, at Fastlane. They have something in the works for Mania. I'm just not quite sure what it is yet.
I think we only are sure of one major Mania match coming out of tonight.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Have a little bit more idea of a couple other ones. But
yeah.
There's still a long way to go to WrestleMania, guys. Still a long time to get to WrestleMania. A lot of TV hours. Think of the hours of television that WWE has to make before they get to WrestleMania.
And Raw tomorrow will be very interesting to tell the story. I think the preliminary thought is we're going to get some kind of a multi-man match for this title if things keep unfolding the way they are. There's just so many players involved right now. But yeah, the chamber match itself, very good. What did you think of the chamber match in general? I thought everybody looked pretty good.
I thought everyone looked really strong. I don't think anyone looked like they were jobbed out or was completely squashed. I mean,
Orton kind of though.
Randy Orton getting a flash finish is fine. Randy's fine. Randy's Teflon. Weirdly, Randy didn't even need to be in this match. He was just there because he's kind of super pop. His popularity is still peaking.
They needed somebody.
I thought Kofi did great work for a guy who was added late to this match as well. I enjoyed his top rope stuff. Jeff Hardy looked awesome. Jeff Hardy had some really great offense on a bunch of different people. No one looked like a complete jabroni in this match. They all looked like they were supposed to be there at some point. So in that way, is that bad? If everybody looks strong and Drew, the champion, ends with the title. I was surprised Sheamus didn't last until the end, that AJ Styles kind of took him out. It was very flashy and it kind of kept you guessing. The chamber is a match where it gets down to the final stages. It is frenetic. And they really did that. Let's jump over to the other chamber match, and we'll kind of work our way into the middle of the card, but I do think people want to talk about the big chamber matches at the beginning. I did enjoy the Raw chamber match, but I really thought the SmackDown one that opened the show was the better of the two chamber matches. This one featured Cesaro and Daniel Bryan opening the show, Sami Zayn, King Baron Corbin, Kevin Owens, and who else am I forgetting? One other. Jey Uso were in the pods. I loved them trash talking, and they had the pods mic'd up. Did you enjoy that a lot? I loved Sami Owens saying, "Don't let him go by my pod," or when the countdown was coming and new people would be entering, he's like, "Don't let it be me. Don't let it be me." And Kofi
was doing it a lot too, talking about Orton's quads and hamstrings and stuff. That was pretty funny.
Quads? I see your quad.
Yeah.
He kept saying it because he knew it would get on. I enjoyed that. I thought that was really, really cool. Let me know if you guys are watching live, what favorite trash talking lines you guys heard tonight on the show. Eddie is texting in Mousquit saying it was good, but I thought the SmackDown Chamber match was better. See,
just
Eddie,
like you said.
Yeah, just like I said.
I mean, maybe. I'm not going to say one was extremely better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I had to pick one, I guess maybe the SmackDown one was better. But to me, it just it feels like it was worthless because the end result was the winner immediately basically getting squashed out anyway. So
we knew that the whole time.
Well, I never said that the chamber match was going to be worth anything to begin with. I mean, I thought the whole time that the point was kind of dumb, but I also understand that you really can't do two of the same thing with Raw and SmackDown. They've done it before. That used to be the moniker of the show. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, well, we can't do the same thing. Nevertheless, though, I do agree that it was probably slightly better. Very happy to see Cesaro basically make it the whole way through. Same with Daniel Bryan, obviously.
Yeah, and people kind of wrote off Daniel Bryan having something big at WrestleMania, and it was surprising because Daniel Bryan is the one who won the chamber match. And people thought it was just a foregone conclusion that Cesaro wins this match with 5 other guys in it, and he gets to go to face Roman Reigns later on in the night. They went a different route, and everyone's mad. But here's the thing, guys: you care. That's the point. They got you to care. They got you to care about what is happening in this match, and you hate Roman Reigns. How much do you want to see someone beat Roman Reigns right now? A whole lot. A whole lot. All right. And if you agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, you're lying to yourself. Because I saw people, even someone, running WrestleZone. We have a bunch of different people that handle our Twitter said, it's lame that this happened. Because Daniel Bryan goes through this war. Cesaro goes through it. People just wanted Cesaro to win, and he got cut off. And Jey Uso cost him that title. I think Jey Uso and Cesaro can have a great WrestleMania match. Cesaro will have a great performance at WrestleMania. Just because he's not in the main event, he's not the champion, doesn't mean he's been robbed. Oh.
Hey, champion, or a question here from Chris in the chat. Did Drew McIntyre win? Yes, he did win, but he lost the championship after being cashed in. And then quickly to address Benjamin Jones asking where Asuka was. Lacey's pregnant. She couldn't compete, so Asuka wasn't on the show. No Asuka because she didn't have an opponent.
Yeah, they didn't. They just kind of scratched that show. It was weird. They mentioned it during the kickoff if they were going to do something with it, and they never brought it up in the show, which was a very odd thing here. Back to the SmackDown Chamber match, and the winner immediately getting to face Roman for the Universal Championship. Daniel Bryan looked spent. He was beat up. He was beat up big time. And I loved the way that Jey Uso looked ruthless. He smashed Kevin Owens' arm with the door when someone else was being eliminated. I thought that was really crafty and clever. They did a bunch of different things like that, using the actual structure to take advantage of different things, like Sami Zayn not knowing that one of the plexiglass doors was open behind him and then being immediately European uppercut by Cesaro. I will
tell you this, though. Mm-hmm. Both chamber matches tonight were way, way, way 5 times better than the 2 chamber matches I got to see in person last year at the event. These two blew that away.
For everyone complaining about the show, saying, I don't like the booking, I don't like the booking. Did you not like the action? Did these guys not go out there and bust their ass and tell a great story? Was this not better than last year's Elimination Chamber? Just like we compare Royal Rumbles from one year to the last, I think this is way better than last year's Elimination Chamber. Significantly better. Significantly better.
Yeah, I thought the SmackDown match was better, like I said as well. I agree there. As far as the action itself, forgetting about the end result and the immediate jobbing, even people might say jobbing that Daniel Bryan did. Jey Uso looked very good in the match. Sami Zayn is just really entertaining, awesome, and funny right now. And look, I really hope in a couple months they actually do something like with a documentary about this conspiracy stuff. I want to see it pay off in some way. I think it would be cool.
I think they're going to do something. They filmed way too much.
But here's the lingering questions I have coming out of this. We're going to get into about what we saw after the match with Edge and Roman. But before we get to that, where does this leave some of the key players heading into Mania, like Daniel Bryan and Cesaro? Where does this leave them?
I think this elevates their
Kevin
stock.
Owens.
Yeah, I think this elevates their stock, guys. Everyone says, the match was pointless because Roman came out and won at the end. He's a villain. WrestleMania is the end of the year. Did you think you were going to get WrestleMania tonight? No, you got the Elimination Chamber. And villains took advantage of things because they're villains and you're not supposed to like them. You're supposed to want the guy who's in that match, a Daniel Bryan, a Cesaro, a Drew McIntyre, to win. And but I want surprises. And then you got surprises, but then you bitch about the surprises.
And like,
what is this? It's like, give me ice cream, then we give you ice cream, then you don't want ice cream. I wanted candy.
We have key players that also weren't in the match either, like Jeff suggests here. What about Nakamura? He has to be in the equation somehow too. So we have a lot of people here on SmackDown that need something to do heading into Mania.
And there's two nights of WrestleMania, guys. So a lot more people are going to get on.
And remember, we also have Big E with a title to defend somehow also. So I think this is just where we're going to get that big 6-man ladder match. This is just where I think that fits in perfectly to the equation.
William T. Wages, WT Dub, saying Cesaro wearing a shirt that said "Love Wrestling," much like WZ Enjoy Wrestling. Yes, we end every show with Enjoy Wrestling. Let's keep sharing the show if you guys want to win this book, man. All right, just remember, all you have to do is share the link. All right, if you're watching, you can win this WrestleMania theme book. This is pretty cool. There's a bunch of cool graphics in it. There's also activities. You get activities. Oh man, you can make your own entrance gear for Ricochet. So go get that. If you guys want to do that, just go ahead and share. We're going to be giving those away on the weeks to WrestleMania. You guys can win those activity books. So we're gonna have a bunch of them to give away. So keep listening to our shows and keep watching them live. If you're listening to the podcast side of things, guys, you can get involved in this. You just tweet out the link that we have. You just retweet what we have. If you're missing us live, don't worry. You're still involved in the contest as well. Give us a follow at WrestleZone.com. Stephen, Billy, Scooter, Robinson, one of my favorite names. He says, hashtag the Miz era is here. Embrace it. He is great on the mic, a good wrestler, and is not dry.
So here's another thing I want to mention real quick before we get past the Miz thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason that I think this is going to obviously be a temporary thing is because, look, what about Bad Bunny? Where does he fit in? He's obviously going to be a tag match at WrestleMania, likely with Damian Priest. Mm-hmm. You have to think The Miz and John Morrison are the opponents, but you can't have that if The Miz is WWE Champion. So do you think that's making it a little too obvious that he's going to lose it here?
No. I think it was just a swerve, to get you thinking like he's trapped into the celebrity thing. But here's the thing. I was bad storytelling. You just did it out of nowhere. Did they do it out of nowhere?
No, it's been teased. They
foreshadowed earlier in the night before the end of the show.
Last Monday on Raw.
Last Monday on Raw, they did this as well, where he was meeting with people and saying he was going to do something and he was going to make it count. He took himself out of the Elimination Chamber, saying, "Why would I do that if I could cash in? Put my friend in it. Put John Morrison in it and have him beat up people for me." Right? Because he's a no good, dirty heel. Why did Roman Reigns politic his way to do this thing? Because he's a no good, dirty heel. You're not supposed to like heels before the biggest match of the year. But they didn't book my fantasy booking, so it sucks. Shut up. It was entertaining. Shut up and let yourself be entertained. That is the problem. No one wants to turn their brain off. They always have to have this other brain on that isn't a real one, that you have to prove something to somebody on the internet.
And I think it's interesting concept here. Like we just in the chat here, Nick Foster says, "I bet that Bobby Lashley will win the title tomorrow night on Raw. Watch and see." I think that's very much a possibility that this could be a one-night thing.
Some deal was made, like, "Hey, you'll get a title shot."
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Because MVP and Miz met up, and MVP runs the Hurt Business, and he manages Bobby Lashley, and he set this whole thing up here. So that's the conniving side and the Raw side. So Daniel Bryan goes through this war in the Elimination Chamber. Cesaro was supposed to be a fan favorite. I still think Daniel Bryan's a fan favorite. Some people saying in the chat that he should retire. Absolutely not. Daniel Bryan is entering the final stages of his career, and he's going to have a great, great run, and he doesn't need a championship. He's like Shawn Michaels.
He might drop away from the full-time scene in the next year or two, but he's not going away permanently. He'll still be around part-time, kind of like Lesnar.
Yeah, he could go into like a Lesnar. Oh, Randy Orton was sort of part-time for a while, though, too. So he could go into that type of territory. And also, he's earned it. Did anyone say he hasn't earned it? He looked great tonight. I thought he did some really, really fun, solid stuff. I thought I could watch him and Cesaro wrestle forever. I could watch them wrestle forever. Maybe they get to do something cool at WrestleMania. I think they had a lot of magic in there tonight. Overall, I'm thumbs up on both the chamber matches. There were some bad things on this show, and we'll get to those as well. Continue to share the link and try and get in on that WrestleMania trivia book contest. Want to get to more comments because we have so many people. Obviously, especially after pay-per-view, we get a lot of people talking to us here. I have to talk to some people like Mr. James Espanto, Fernando Taguay, who's always with us, so supportive. April, not AJ Lee Serrato, saying, fear the spear for Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 37, the ultimate opportunist, the WWE Hall of Famer Edge. You won't see it coming until it's too late. And he didn't. So Roman got to take on a beaten, weakened Daniel Bryan, who nearly got him in that yes lock, had a glimmer of hope in this short little mini match, only to be beaten down into submission and choked out by the evil Roman Reigns. And then Edge spears him, points at the sign, the fireworks go off. So there you know it's official now. We're getting Edge versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. What do you think of that match being made official?
I'm okay with it. The only reason that I think people sometimes aren't okay with this kind of stuff is because it's a foregone conclusion likely that he's not defending the title at Fastlane then. Unless they're going to go with this whole storyline, well, he's not guaranteed to be the champion because he still has to wrestle at Fastlane.
Yes.
I just don't think we're going to get anything like that this year. I think that we're just going to see the build-up of Roman and Edge straight into WrestleMania. What I could see is Edge facing Jey Uso at Fastlane maybe.
Yeah, Reigns is defending that belt at Fastlane. It's the first major event on Peacock.
You think?
Yes. He's going to be on the show. Maybe he doesn't defend the belt. Maybe he's on the show in some way.
In Jay's corner, maybe.
Or a tag match or something. He's on that show. It's the first major network event on the Peacock with WWE Network moving over to there. By the way, I know we have a lot of people asking about that, and we're gonna have a lot of questions about that in the next month or so. WWE Network in the United States only is moving behind the Peacock paywall, that streaming service. It will not cost you more money. We have a link up, by the way, at WrestleZone.com, officially from WWE, about how they're going to do that migration and how that's going to work, and if you have an account with WWE and all these different things. And they're going to keep adding questions to it as the process goes on. So if you need that, it's up on our Twitter page. Go give it a look if you're asking about that. So here we are, Edge versus Reigns at WrestleMania. Is that a big money match to you? It's spear versus spear, as Singh is texting in here.
I am on board with it. I think this is the best option for Edge across all of the champions. But here's what's interesting to me. Roman has looked so good and so strong. Is he really about to lose to Edge, clean? Is this really going to happen? And then Edge is just going to have it for who knows how long? Do you think this is what's going to happen? Or do you think that maybe Roman does win?
I don't know. I mean, it's so far out. I think it's a little bit too early. And with WWE, I'll give them this. It's very hard to predict some of the outcomes of their shows. I don't think it was easy to predict the outcome of this show. And everyone who bitches about week-to-week WWE booking, if they keep you guessing and then you care and you guys respond like this is modern heat. This is modern heat now, okay? There is no crowd response. It is strictly social media. This is strictly this. To me, a booing is saying you didn't do what I wanted you to do on TV. Yeah, like a heel does, like a villain does. So they got me on board, but what do you want to see happen? You want to see the hero who came back get the belt back. And I do think there is a storyline to that. I could see some younger fans who don't have that sense of emotional attachment to Edge. Maybe they have that more towards a Cesaro or a Daniel Bryan, people in their 20s, early 20s, who, yeah, Edge is cool, but I don't feel the same way about him I do as these newer, younger talents. And I love Roman Reigns because I think he's a badass. I could see some people loving Roman Reigns right now and not wanting to get on the Edge train, the rated R train to WrestleMania.
I want Edge to win. I know I kind of sounded like maybe I didn't after saying, well, is he really going to win clean over Roman Reigns? I think that's the right move, especially with live fans being in attendance. I think Edge will get a huge pop. And this is honestly the first big test to see what reaction will Roman get. Will he get those loud boos they expect, or will
people going to are they going to cheer for him because they think he's the cool heel?
Exactly. So I personally think he's going to probably get booed pretty loudly. Edge is obviously going to get a big pop. I think Edge wins this, and I hate to say it, but I honestly could see him having this up until SummerSlam. Really, I could.
I could see Edge falling short at WrestleMania. And people still loving him. You know what I mean? They still love this guy and they still want to ride with him, you know? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Text me. I'm guessing Edge wants to go out on his back on his own terms, and he can do it at WrestleMania. Well, here's the thing. I think he's wrestling well past, or at least going to be featured on television and wrestling sporadically.
At least 2 or 3 more years, I'd say.
Yeah, at least 2 or 3 more years in a limited capacity is what we're told. Let's want to get to more comments here. We do have this question here. Randy Orton was eliminated in a flash pinfall by Kofi Kingston. We know Randy Orton is still embroiled in this long-term storyline with the Fiend Bray Wyatt, who he burned alive in an Inferno match in December on pay-per-view. And we haven't seen him since. And Alexa Bliss, his demonish minion, has been keeping his presence up for him on Monday Night Raw. They've done a bunch of shenanigans, even interfered in a gauntlet match this past Monday on USA Network. Jeremy Shock wants to know, when do you think the Fiend returns? I say tomorrow. I actually think that's a very good prediction, Jeremy. It's a very good, distinct possibility. You could see Bray Wyatt being reserved for this stage of that road to WrestleMania. He's back before Mania for sure.
Yeah, I think it's very soon. I think it's very obvious now that this is what Orton's doing at WrestleMania. This is what the Fiend's doing at WrestleMania, and that's perfectly fine. I think everybody's okay with that. I think they're going to go all out for Raw this week, though, with The Miz being champion. I think they want those high ratings tomorrow, and I think that even if he's not physically there, he will appear on screen like remote or something like that. I think we see him again.
I can tell you the WWE social numbers quite strong tonight. Quite strong tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Trending number 1.
Yeah, trending number 1. And yeah, so and okay. All right. Yeah.
What?
I'm just getting a message from Bill. We had to change the graphic on tonight's show because of the Miz cash-in happened right at the end. Because of what happened here. And I'm going to tell him, thank you for that, Bill. Thank you. Appreciated. Bill Pritchard, thank you so much for helping out with that while we're going live here. And we had a ton of different people before this. Oh boy. Wow, look at this. Love it now, man. I'm getting texts about all the different things going on the website. We're really busy here. And I can also tell you WWE is quite busy on social media tonight. Trending number 2, the last time I checked in the United States on Twitter. High Google trending number as well throughout the show. This is all good indication of what WWE likes on a big night like this.
Yeah, absolutely. They are going all out for this build-up to WrestleMania. You saw the graphic tonight, 48 nights away. It just felt like we were 70 nights away last week, and here we are. We're down to 48. We've almost cut that number in half next week. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We have 4 more weeks until the Chamber, until Fastlane, and then another 2 or 3 until Mania. So, I mean, realistically, we're looking at only 6 or 7 more Raws until, the big show. What do you think is going to be most critical for them to do between now and then, as far as developing some more matches? We know the big ones, but they need to get an undercard together yet.
Yeah, they need to get an undercard together. And for me, I think everyone's just like, how come we don't know all these other matches for WrestleMania? As I mentioned, I think WWE understands that they can get more attention on the show, their weekly television shows, which are their most profitable element right now, by saving all of that on TV now. I mean, obviously, some of the big things were given away. We know we're getting Edge Reigns. That's confirmed. If you're a week-to-week fan, you got that. But you're going to see more of those things kind of rolled out in the weeks to come, and I think that's all right. I don't know why we have to give you everything the night after Royal Rumble. It doesn't work that way. We don't produce television. We don't see television. You don't look at TV anyway that way. You don't even listen to music that way. You know what I mean? It's like the think about it this way. Does anyone get a single from a band and then the album comes out and then they go and buy it? No, it hasn't worked that way for 20 years. All right. It's single, like maybe 4 or 5 songs from an album come out and then the whole album comes out. It's a different way that we consume things now. And I think WWE understands that. Slow the spigot down a little bit and then blast you with a lot of it and then slow it down because they're spinning a lot of different plates. I'm going to keep saying that phrase quite a bit.
Yeah, they are definitely making things more unpredictable this year than they typically would. As we saw with Lashley, I mean, people were throwing around the idea of him defending against Keith Lee at WrestleMania, and then attention kind of turned to, well, maybe he's going to go against Brock Lesnar. And then attention turned to now where we're like, well, he might be in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. He might be the WWE Champion at WrestleMania. Crazy how things can happen in the span of literally 3 hours. The show started 3 hours ago. It was a very short pay-per-view tonight.
Definitely. We're rolling ahead here on a post-show for Elimination Chamber. Want to get more of your comments on screen here. People asking what happened with Keith Lee. Keith Lee was supposed to be in the United States Championship match tonight, and obviously he was not. He was a late scratch Sunday afternoon. We reported that. That story originally broken by PWA Insider, WWE confirming it themselves. Initially, there was thought that there would be a battle royal on the kickoff show tonight that would create who would ever fill that spot, with Bobby Lashley defending against Matt Riddle and originally advertised Keith Lee. What happened? Keith Lee injured. We don't know the severity of the injury, how serious that injury is. Is that going to keep him off WrestleMania? We don't know. We don't know how serious it is. We just know injury. That's all we know. And everyone's rushing to some conclusion or anything like that. All right, so they then have a fatal four-way. John Morrison, in a distraction at ringside from Retribution, Mustafa Ali's faction, rolls up Mustafa Ali and pins him. And John Morrison gets in this match. Pretty solid match. Nothing super fantastic. And Matt Riddle gets the win. Bobby Lashley later on the night would be a part of something much bigger than just losing a title. Obviously, maybe he set himself up for a WWE Championship match down the line. And Matt Riddle, finally, after months and months and months and months, and losing and losing and losing, and then winning some, and then sort of winning some, and sort of definitely losing some to Bobby Lashley, is now the United States Champion. I didn't love this. I loved his Evil Knievel gear, but I thought this was quite solid. What do you think?
I was definitely on board with it. It was a little weird for me that they decided to put Morrison in it out of everybody else. Riddle, it's a little weird because he was really on a losing streak for the past long, couple weeks, months. And then here he is winning this. That makes you wonder if Keith Lee, when he does come back, will be, kind of stuck in the thing with Riddle, even though Riddle's a baby face. It'll be interesting to see how they develop that. But the only thing I can really say to summarize this is Lashley is on to bigger and better things. We don't know what that is yet, but it's quite obvious after tonight that he's on to bigger and better things, and I think he deserves it. He's been doing a lot of interviews the last couple of weeks, basically going on the record saying that he thinks that this is his best period of weeks, months, all time in WWE, surpassing his first run years ago in the WWE. He had some big words this afternoon on The Bump, WWE's pre-streaming social media show, and he called out basically the whole locker room. He thinks this is his time.
He said, Brock, where are you? Which I thought was pretty alarming, and that's a match that people have always wanted, is Bobby Lashley versus Brock. Does this set something up way bigger for him than the United States Championship? I think so. I think him being involved with Drew at the end of the night is something. If they want to do Drew, some mixture of Drew, Miz, and Lashley at Fastlane, it could be something. I don't know if that's something that pops off the page. Let's get to the other big title match of the night. It was the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. This was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending against the singles pairing of SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and potentially her opponent at WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair. Reginald got involved and caused the distraction for Sasha, and Nia Jax and Shayna leave with the belts. This was unfortunately the weakest thing on the show. Wasn't awful, wasn't great. Wasn't better than some things I've seen on TV this week because there were some particularly great TV matches here. So this didn't feel like it was pay-per-view ready, just my take.
It was thrown together last second. I think they probably put this match on the card because they couldn't do Lacey Evans and Asuka. You have to have the females on the card in some capacity, so they went with this. Why they didn't just give Lana and Naomi their title opportunity now is kind of weird. And it was also kind of weird that they did this knowing that we were already going to get a championship match on NXT this Wednesday. So to me, it just kind of felt in there. I don't understand what they're doing with Reginald and Carmella and the whole thing where he keeps screwing over Sasha. I was dead set that we're going to get Bianca and Sasha, but why is Reginald and Carmella still involved here? It wouldn't make sense for Bianca to pick Sasha and then have it be a triple threat match. It's not really fair to Bianca. But
I like Reginald. I think
so do I.
Cool,
oh yeah.
I think he's a cool character. I think it's different to have a character like that completely supports the women.
He's
and
like
also,
James Ellsworth.
Yes, but can do more. He's physically doing more than that. And a very interesting guy, very interesting backstory. He was recruited from Circus Soleil, which is a different place to come from. And he's doing some very unique things in the ring with WWE. Now, at some point, I do think he has to maybe not wrestle women all the time. But in this way, I think it's interesting. But is this the time to introduce that type of character? I think it would have been better to do that after WrestleMania or a different stage of the year. I really think you should focus on, for me, and this isn't me saying he isn't deserving of it, because he's held his minutes, right? He definitely takes his minutes. He doesn't look nervous as a new guy on television. He doesn't look like a guy straight off NXT or anything like that. You know, he looks like he belongs there, but it looks a little messy. You know, it feels a little messy. Because the lane is there. Just give me Bianca and Sasha. But I understand we have a lot longer to get there. You don't just tell stories in 5 weeks. You tell them over 3 months now. And there's a lot more SmackDowns to go before we get to Mania.
Yeah, I see people giving their takes. A lot of people are agreeing Reginald is the new James Ellsworth. Somebody saying Reginald will be the first male women's champion. I don't think they take it to that extent. All I'm saying is I'm confused why Carmella is still involved here. I think it would be good enough for us to just get Bianca versus Sasha. It's going to be a great match. Probably it's going to be made official, I would guess, this Friday. I think this week we get more stuff for WrestleMania. I get we have another pay-per-view coming up first. Mm-hmm. But Fastlane is always like a mid-card pay-per-view. I mean, the last time we had Fastlane, it was the Shield's last match together. That was the big main event. There's not really any development in stories here, really. It's mostly like filler stuff. Would you agree there?
I think there's more here. I think Edge and Reigns is a big match. I think that's
not a Fastlane.
No, but I'm just saying the momentum to get there.
Of course.
I also think Fastlane's a show where you could just tell me who's on. Like, you can announce some things day of, and I still think it would be kind of exciting. And especially because I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to announce some big things for it. And they can't just tell you what you're going to get on Fastlane tonight, you know? You have to do some TV to get there. And I think you have to make those week-to-week viewers understand that the Peacock change is going to be a big thing. And if you're annoyed by them telling you something over and over again, get ready to be bothered by them telling you that WWE Network is going to Peacock. And also, how do you do that on Fox, which is involved with Fox Television Network, and it's not involved with, it's a completely different media company.
That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Yeah. So we're going to see how they handle that, you know? They're going to tell you to go to WWE.com to watch the shows and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Other people chiming with their thoughts here. Overall, I don't think we've missed anything on the card. We missed anything on the show? Sometimes it gets ahead of me here. I think
we covered every single match.
You know what? The chamber matches were the attraction. I could see some people feeling like, oh, I didn't get Asuka versus Lacey Evans, but I don't think that was a selling point match anyway. Lacey Evans being pregnant on the show. Maybe they even cut it for time, you know, because those chamber matches take a long, long time. The introductions, and everything like that, and stuff like that. This is the first time where I've ever seen a match cut where I kind of get it. I did see some people complain, just, you know, secondhand observation, saying they were disappointed the women didn't get an Elimination Chamber match this year. I could agree with that to a degree.
I don't think they need one every year, though. I mean, I get that they're on equal playing field with the men now, and I would definitely get the backlash of say they didn't get like a Royal Rumble one year. But I think that as far as them getting the Money in the Bank and the Royal Rumble is a good thing for every single year. But as far as like the Elimination Chambers, the Hell in a Cells, the stuff like that, I don't think they necessarily need to have one every single year. But at the same time, I do understand the argument that people have with thinking that, you know, they deserve that on the card as well, especially when you have a women's roster of 30 plus and only 4 of them made the show tonight. But we've been talking about this a couple times in the past couple weeks that right now their women's division isn't at the strongest point that they've been at in recent time, excluding NXT. NXT has been amazing, but Raw and SmackDown, they need to start building back up again. They need some new players here.
We will see. Let's look at that rating now. Let's look at what you guys give this show. 1 to 10. The 1 to 10 rating. 1 being we were never going to have fans back at WrestleMania. 10 being everybody gets to come back to WrestleMania, even though in reality we know that's not going to happen. But I'm just talking about hypothetical wants, right? The 1 to 10 rating. John, you're the guest. I'm here all the time. So I go to you. Are we going to get your signature 7.5 DAWG dog rating, the 7.5 rating, 1 to 10? Or are we going to get something else?
We are going to get an 8 tonight.
An 8. An 8 is great. An 8 is a solid rating. You're not alone. Justin Nicholas texted in saying he also gives it an 8. Kevin giving it a 9. Jesse didn't like it. Gives it a 5.5. James Espanto Fernando Taguay gives it an 8.1 dog.
We're close then. We're close.
That's nearly a dog rating.
Look, The Miz cashing in was just amazing to me. And honestly, it probably would have been a 7.5 dog if he hadn't cashed in. But
gets a full half point.
You all guys, all of you guys watching, Kevin, you know also that I have been wanting Drew to drop this thing ever since he lost it to Orton the first time. He finally did. It's great. Now, I'm probably going to eat my words again because he very well could win it back tomorrow or at Fastlane for all I know. Mm-hmm. Look, guys, he's going to probably be in the championship match at WrestleMania, no matter who it's against. It's just going to happen like that. And he probably will, as much as I also hate to say this, finally get his WrestleMania moment in front of fans and win it back. I don't think that should happen, but I think it probably will. What's your rating?
I'm right there with you. I give this show a solid 8 out of 10. Is it the best WWE pay-per-view I've ever seen? No. Was it better than Royal Rumble? No, but it's pretty close.
But it's the best chamber in a few years, though. It's been the best
Absolutely. Chamber. That was my next point. This is one of the best WWE chamber shows I've watched in the past couple of years. Way better than last year. Way better than last year. I thought this was significantly better than last year, for sure. Other people with different takes here, not enjoying this. Someone giving it a 4 out of 10. Johnny Udanovich, he gives it a 7.5. Going to be interesting in how they can build up to WrestleMania. Well, then I guess it's good. If they got you there, then they got something here. Wacky Warrior watching over on YouTube. By the way, you guys can check out our shows on YouTube if you're watching on a different app. 8.5 out of 10. I think the women's tag match could have gone on SmackDown, but since we didn't get Asuka and of course no Keith Lee, so those are a little bit of a letdown for him. Maybe those people not being there, but that's injuries. I don't think you can hold Keith Lee not being on the show for that. The amount of people that responded and commented on that story on social media who said Vince is burying Keith Lee, they just read the headline and didn't read that he got injured. Because they just read Keith Lee removed from Elimination. It was so alarmingly obvious that people sometimes just read headlines and then comment on a story without reading the story. Don't be that guy. Right, John? Don't be that guy. You don't have to be. You don't have to be that guy. You could be a different guy. So definitely, definitely people with their different takes here. Overall, this is a pretty solid night of wrestling. I enjoyed it. I mean, the chamber matches carried the show. Stuff in between was kind of wishy-washy, but I liked the twists, the turns, and they gave you a lot of those. And then on top of it, the chamber matches themselves, I thought, elevated the stock of both Raw and SmackDown and what those guys want to do. I think some people are going to do some big things, even if they're not involved in the title program before WrestleMania.
Absolutely. And I don't want to – I've seen people – commenting directly to me about my feelings on Drew McIntyre. And yes, I will admit that he did carry WWE the last year, but that doesn't mean I'm not ready for him to drop the title because it's that time. It was time, I thought. I understand that he is the top player right now, but, change isn't always a bad thing.
No, it's not. Other people with different things here. People saying Vince hates tag team wrestling because there was no tag team title match on tonight's show. We had chamber matches. The chamber matches were a bigger focus. I don't mind that. I don't think everyone needs to be on every pay-per-view.
Okay, James wants me to show the shirt. I'll show the shirt again.
What's the shirt? Oh, they're going to show the WrestleMania shirt?
I'm going to be there, people, one way or the other.
And that's another thing is no announcement about tickets tonight. We had no.
Well, we've seen in the and trust me, I know this because I've been looking at work for like 30 minutes every single day. What I can tell you here is that we don't have any announcement yet. We did have some activity on Ticketmaster though, as the event page. They updated the logo to this year's WrestleMania, so that was one change they made on the back end. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, we can't confirm anything. We've heard March 1st, March 2nd as a possible on sale date. Can't confirm that. It wouldn't make sense. Usually they start ticket sales on Tuesdays, So I'm keeping my eyes personally on March 2nd, which would be almost exactly a month out. But nevertheless, we will post on WrestleZone as soon as we know, but not before I get my tickets, just to make sure.
Oh, we're not gonna report it until
we're going to tell you after I have mine.
John, I think you put us into some really journalistic ethical problems there. We can't.
Unfortunately, it's not in my power anyway. I can't make those decisions.
I think you would be getting we're gonna get some emails from the boss's desk. Like, heck, we didn't post about WrestleMania tickets going on sale. John, you need to get tickets before everybody else.
Just an hour late. Just an hour late.
No, that is not a good idea. I would say don't do that. Like I would say that would be my immediate response to that. Yeah, it is weird that we don't have WrestleMania. We know that WrestleMania is going to be on April 10th and 11th at Raymond James Stadium.
48 days.
48 days away. I think it's a bigger deal that they push this as a television event than that type of event. There has been speculation of, well, how many tickets are they actually going to sell? I hear the longer they go on with this,
compared to giveaway.
Yes, and like because if they really wanted to, they could give all these tickets to people and trace them all because they don't have to ticket them. And part of you going to the event is we need to be able to see your health status.
Where you've been the past 2 weeks.
Where you've been the past 2 weeks. Did you test clean? Did you do all these different things? And obviously we're still in a pandemic and you can't guarantee that everyone who's going to be available to go to the show is going to be vaccinated. And are you going to have people from out of state come in? You have quarantine laws in different states. I don't think you're going to see anyone outside of the United States come to the show, or at least very, very, very little. If there is any.
Maybe some families of superstars, but
yeah. And normally for WrestleMania they give away thousands of tickets every year, like a lot of tickets to give away.
Giveaways to the superstars, contests.
Yeah, and then there's also sponsors that they get a certain allotted amount of tickets every year, and but this is a different WrestleMania. That would make sense in a normal year where you're running an 80,000 seat stadium.
You mean Snickers ain't getting 10 grand tickets this year?
Maybe they are. But I also wonder. How are they going to do this? I expect some level of first responders are going to be at this because they know those people are vaccinated, at least at this point.
Yeah.
You have some people that have already gone through their 2-shot phase, of whether it was the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine or whatever vaccine is currently available by the time you guys hear it. Who knows? The Johnson & Johnson one may come out in a week or two. WWE pushed this event back, by the way, by a couple weeks. And I think they were doing that for a lot of the same reasons, and they brought this up on the last executive call. Presenting this event is going to be a test run for WWE coming back to live events in general. And there isn't going to be this green light go, and this is from me talking to people in the live event business. There is going to be this transitional phase going into 2022. The face masks are going to be a part of live events, and that's like concerts and different things like that. Limited tickets are going to be a part of it. You can't just keep these venues closed, large and small, from either a small comedy club that I get to play, fortunately, sometimes, or a big giant football arena. You can't run those type of venues without safety protocols in place. And WrestleMania will be a real test for how WWE as a company works with a venue to do that. And then maybe some point later in the final quarter of the year, they're going to go back to that and be able to continue to transition back into things.
Yeah, of course. I think this is definitely a trial run. If I had to guess, I'd say we might not even see live fans again until SummerSlam. Although I am a part of those few select people that do think that maybe they will run events at what we now call the Capitol Wrestling Center, the Performance Center, with a few number of fans, like we saw with NXT. Don't know if that's the best idea after what we saw last week on NXT. Fans can shift the mold of what people think is actually happening that, might not be the positive thing for WWE, but they eventually need to transition into getting fans back. And I think that this is a good test run because, look, they can still do smaller outdoor venues if they want to. Now, the weather is not always, on your side, though. So that's also a fine line you have to cross also. So the whole point of this is outdoor, outdoor, outdoor. But can you do indoor and travel and have fans? I don't know if you can do that right now.
I don't know if you could do that right now. obviously, you know, we're just to have a big event. People look at WrestleMania. We know that the configuration is being talked about of, you know, what was the Super Bowl was around 25,000 people was the estimated number.
And Jesse's asking, when does the Tropicana lease end? We know that the Rays need to have the field on April 10th, I believe, which is the first night of WrestleMania. It appears that the go-home SmackDown for WrestleMania would be the last time that they would be in that stadium, and then they have to be out.
My assumption is they'll find a college arena to move into before that time. Possibly they go to the Capitol Wrestling Center if they really want to do something, you know, and go in that direction, which has a little bit of a Thunderdome-y vibe to it. And also they can get live fans in there. Limited, mind you, they cast that audience. That audience is casted, basically. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's not, especially now.
Every other show does that.
Yeah, you go to see a talk show, it's the same thing, guys. So right now, in terms of WWE returning to live fans, the time frame is still WrestleMania, 2 nights, and then we start talking about the final quarter of 2021, which I can tell you kind of lines up with most of the concert industry. An example of that is an event in September that I have some knowledge of here in Chicago, large scale festivals that usually have 20 to 30,000 people at them. They're moving their dates into September. Lollapalooza, which is one of the biggest rock concerts in America, normally that would occur usually the first weekend of August. That the status of that isn't known at this time. And some people think the only distinct widespread speculation is how far can you delay it so that it isn't right on top of other events in Chicago when everyone's trying to get back out there and vaccines are widely distributed at some point in the summer. So I do think WWE is going to be one of those brands that benefits from really never letting up with their audience and always being on TV. I think there'll be this bottoming out of the concert industry. I think a lot of people you're going to be able to go see some bands you couldn't afford to go see before because we need to get them out. And there will be some tickets that are really expensive, but I think there'll be a lot of WWE fans going to shows that maybe didn't buy tickets to a live event or a house show, or
attendance is going to go up, especially because there probably won't be live events, only Raw and SmackDown. That's it.
And there's no. I would. This isn't me saying anything I know. I don't think you'll see house shows. I don't think house shows are particularly necessary. Maybe some type of private corporate events and different things like that. There's been some talk of WWE saying, why are we doing house shows if we could do these like with a convention, you know, or we could be with a rock festival. They've done that with NXT before. So there's been talk of that in the past years. And maybe this is just something that forces WWE to go in that direction, which I think I'd be okay with it. Like if I went to a Lollapalooza and they had a huge tent that seated 5,000 people and said, we're going to have a WWE show in here, I'd be like, yeah, that's cool.
And we have people on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to WrestleMania. As we see Jeff asking, do you think the tickets will sell fast? Some people think they'll sell out in 15 minutes. Some people think that nobody's going to buy these tickets.
No, they will sell out. They will sell out. They will sell out very, very fast.
That's what I think too. It'll be 15 minutes and they will be gone. Even if it's scalpers buying them, they'll still be gone.
Yeah, and another thing is, like, how do you control the secondary market on this?
They need to make it so the original purchaser has to match your ID like NFL did.
Like, I mean, just thinking about that out loud, like, that's a really, really hard logistical thing to figure out. And especially in today's day and age. Like,
NFL did it.
You're going to have to, because then you're talking about all digital tickets then. So that's all digital tickets. There's no physical tickets.
Match with your ID.
You have to match with ID. How many people are in your group? We're going to have to be able to have an email to trace you and, you know, so, I mean, you look at really what AEW is doing for months and months and months now in Daly's place. And part of the benefit to AEW, circumstantially, is they own the venue. Like, you know, I mean, the Khan family owns that venue. So they can really see this thing from the back end and see how it's all done in terms of seating people. Kudos to them for figuring it out. Kudos to New Japan Pro Wrestling for also running Wrestle Kingdom. They did 12, 15, I believe, between 12 and 15 is a number I heard. And they have people spread out. Whatever you saw the Super Bowl look like, which ran in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, it's going to be a pretty good idea what WrestleMania is going to look like. I do think we'll have cardboard fans. Stephanie McMahon going on the record a few months ago saying they were going to take a lot of cues from how the NFL ran the stadium to see how they would actually run the stadium. There'll be some fun stuff. Someone's jumping off that pirate ship. I'm telling you that. Somebody's jumping off that pirate ship for sure at WrestleMania. So overall, thank you guys so much for checking this out. I hope you guys had a good time enjoying the show. If you haven't done it already, go ahead and share the link. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe, turn those notifications on. On Facebook, you guys have to like and follow us. So the follow thing is a little extra thing. You'll see something kind of pop up on screen that says set reminder. That'll let you know exactly when we go live, and we go live like many, many days a week. And also keep sharing it. If you haven't done it already, you guys can win this WrestleMania trivia and activity book. It's pretty cool. We're big kids because we like wrestling, so you can win one of these. We'll be giving these away in the weeks ahead. We'll be giving at least one away in the multiple weeks ahead here. And we have given away one tonight. So if you share this link tonight, you're going to be one of the lucky people that could potentially win it. Go ahead and do that. If you haven't done it already, go and subscribe to our podcast feed, which is available on Apple, Spotify, all the different podcast apps. We just dropped our second episode of WCW Rewritten, which is pretty cool. Picking up after Starrcade 1997 and trying to figure out all that mess that happened with WCW, the D'Angelo brothers, those degenerate D'Angelo brothers. Other people chiming in here with different comments here. I want to try and get as many people on here as well. Already shared it. Thank you so much, TJ. Appreciate it here. A lot of people with new viewers. Love the diehards. Gotta love the diehards. You're watching all the time. John Gross saying, screw the Miz. See, works. If you're saying you don't like the guy, I guess it worked. So here we are. We're going into WrestleMania. Do you feel the hype?
I do. Yeah. I'll feel the hype more once I know that I'll be there, though.
you
the nerves are still there because I already have everything. Everybody here knows I already have everything else
planned.
Up your
phone for pictures, this left and right. You're gonna be trying watching the match and be like, dude, I need pics for the site. I'm gonna need a live stream for the site. Thank you guys so much. Nicholas Foster's saying, thanks guys, you rock. No, Nick, you rock. Thank you for watching the show. I really, really appreciate it. I know this is a weird time. We're still exhausted with the pandemic and the regulations and not feeling our life at full speed, living a diet version of our lives. Someone described it to me that way. It's a diet version of life right now. Honestly, out there, stay safe. Stay safe, guys. I really want you to stay safe. I want you to continue to wear your mask over your nose, too. Drives me crazy when I go to the grocery store and someone thinks just having it above their mouth, that doesn't, no. That's like having a piece of you outside of your pants when you zip yourself up. All right. It's not the same thing. Okay. All right. So cover your booger factory, shut it down. And let's just get through this thing, man. There is light at the other end of the tunnel. All right. We are firing up. We're shaking these ropes right here. Okay. And we're going to get up in this corner and we're going to run out like Daniel Bryan. We're going to hit that big running knee. All right. And we're going to get through this thing and we're going to have a good time. We're going to get back to the matches. Remember, when watching Wrestling John Clark, who you can follow on Twitter at John R. Clark 12. Me, Kevin, I'm remembering it as well. You can follow me on Twitter at KevCalm. Of course, follow at WrestleZone.com. Please remember, when watching wrestling, what is the most important thing that they are supposed to do? Jonathan Clark of Central Pennsylvania. What is that?
Enjoy wrestling.
Mm-hmm.